Belgian ale I put together. Nikki's idea to use 3711 in this. Very tasty. Still trying to get a taste for Belgians. I'm still learning to appreciate them, but I like this one. So, hey YouTube, it's Joe here, of course. And today, I've got more parts, as you can see, and we are going to be working on the mash tun section of the new little brewery we're building here. If you haven't seen the previous videos in the series, check them out. I don't know where those things appear, but somewhere there. If you're new to it, Spike Brewing, Ben from Spike Brewing reached out to me and wanted to get me some products for me to brew here on YouTube and do an honest review of them here on YouTube. So we pinged back and forth and developed essentially 2 custom kettles. And you're looking at one of them right here. The other one is in my previous video. Check it out. That's the boil kettle. This is going to be the mash tun. And basically it's their 10-gallon the new version of their 10-gallon kettles. We've got 2 ports here, which are a standard configuration. You can just click on and add to your cart. This one here is the unique one. This was put in for our Sparge, for the Sparge arm, Sparge Return, whatever you want to consider it. But basically, we're going to have our boil kettle. It's going to be heating up. It pumps, or it's not going to pump. There's going to be a pump added to this setup. Pump up through here. Goes through the grain bed, out the ball valve, through the disconnect, of course, down the hose, back into the boil kettle. And percolate, 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 yum, yum, boom, we've got sweet wort. That's the goal. And so this is what we're going to be doing here. So, Spike sent me these, free of charge, of course. Thank you again, Ben. This is so freaking cool. I picked up everything else on my own. And here's what we're going to do. So we've got our standard setup here. If you saw the previous video when we put together the boil kettles ball valves, this is the exact same setup. You've got the nipple, you've got the actual valve, and then you've got the quick disconnect, which actually this should go this way. See, I always do that. I'm going to go ahead and put in a nice big 6-inch probed thermometer through this port, just as a gauge. This one's not going to be heavily relied upon, but it's a lot better than just plugging this hole with, nothing. And I don't need a digital thermostat on here because I'm going to have one up here. And I haven't ordered that part yet. I'm still trying to figure out quite what size and how we're going to do that to work with the controller. But the concept is going to be the boil kettle is going to have the electric heating element in it. It's going to pump up through a hose to the disconnect, which is going to be put in through a series of parts. And then on the inside, I decided to splurge and I got an auto sparge. So if you haven't seen one of these are one of Blickman's. Basically, it's a stainless steel liquid level control. So as this moves down, you can see it pulls this valve here open. So it adjusts as needed to keep your liquid level in here to whatever height you've determined, and that's set by this little nut here. You just basically think of it like a stainless steel toilet bowl filler. It's kind of what it is. You attach your hose onto there, and then the other end of the hose goes on inside this ball, which is sealed. It's stainless as well, and it basically floats right on the top, so you never disturb your grain bed. And that's what I liked about this. So I thought this would work. Got it home, popped it in, and it fit perfectly. So if you're looking at doing a recirculation system or something on a Spike Brewing kettle, I've got the smallest one they offer, the 10-gallon, and it fits just fine. So this is going to work great. So pump up, auto sparge, boop, boop, goes down. Delightful. Now, why am I, I guess I should backtrack here. This is a standard full coupler that's been welded in, and your standard full coupler, and of course the half coupler, which is great for your, thermo wells or your half-inch MPT thermometers, whatever. This one here, so the Blickman, the Auto Sparge, it comes like this. And you can basically just drill a hole, and it's designed to just be bolted in. So here's, imagine my hand's the wall of the of your kettle. you know, it's going through, and you just tighten it down. There's a little seal on the inside there that keeps it watertight, of course, and boom, you're set. We don't need that because I've already got this nice big full coupler installed. So we're going to screw this in through the inside there, and it'll be set. And then on the outside, in order to fit the thermo well that I want to put up here for the PID controller, PID for the PID, we're going to have a nipple. We are going to have a stainless T, and then we're going to have the probe going in this way, so it can be any length probe, shouldn't really matter, and the disconnect's going to go down like that. That's what I'm thinking. It shouldn't cause any problems. It'll pump right up, liquid will flow right through, it'll be controlled by the auto sparge, and the whole time it's going to be in contact with that probe, you know, that's, you know, imagine if you will. It's very handy. The Blickman thing is 1/2 inch MPT, so you don't have to worry about that. So imagine here's the wall of our boil kettle, and the mash tun, and then this coupler here, and things are screwed into it. So this is going to be how it goes. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Lovely on the inside there. The hose is going to be here with the quick disconnect, and then that temperature probe is going to go right in here. And it should fit just fine, going right down the center there. It's also going to have a little bit of extra space on this end because of the full coupler. So I think it's going to work great. If you have adapted a spike kettle like this, or if you have set up your own custom rims or something, let me know what you've done up there on that point. I almost missed this. I realized I hadn't put in a spot anywhere in the recirculation system for a temperature probe outside of the actual boil kettle, you know, right in the front. On the boil kettle, if you saw in the past video, this is where I'm going to have an electronic probe that we can clip into to control the boil. And I had completely forgot about, well, I should probably actually have something closer to the mash tun so it's measuring the heat of the liquid going right in there, so you're getting kind of that last minute reading before it hits the grain. I figured that one was probably important too. So we're going to get a second one, and it's going to go boop there. So that's going to be how that goes. Now, one thing I did buy, if you saw in the previous video, I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do the false bottom. And I thought that I had a false bottom that was going to work just fine. Turns out that it fit the pot great, but I was having a big problem finding fittings to get it to basically line everything up right. And be basically a little bit easier to take apart rather than, you know, having to, I don't know, crack the thing open with a wrench every time. So I went ahead and ordered Spike Brewing's false bottom. And this is what comes in the kit. So you've got their false bottom. It's got a ring there. I'm not sure. I'm trying to see. Yeah, there you go. It's essentially what? 1/2 inch or so, 3/4 of an inch. Stainless steel perforated ring on top of their laser cut stainless steel plate. This port here is for the dip tube, which we saw. So this goes inside the kettle like so, and it raises it up off the bottom so you have plenty of room for your pickup tube to do its job. Now, one thing I liked about this is really, really heavy. I mean, this sucker is thick. It weighs almost 5. These two weigh like 5 pounds combined. It's ridiculous. Very heavy duty, stainless. I love it. The welds look like they're going to last 100 million years. The quality's great. This thing here was really, really cool. So on the inside, on the bottom here, we'll actually screw this part in. Now what makes this unique is it is a push to connect fitting. So it's much easier to pop this whole thing out rather than have to sit there, you know, futz with something that I've kind of, I was trying to be cheap on it, I guess, you know. But so yeah, so you can screw that in, or you pop this on, you give it a push, it slides like that, and then you basically tighten it in, and everything's lined up. Now I did actually do a test on this just to see if I can fit, like if I just screw this piece in, can I fit this and the false bottom in at an angle and then basically just pop this in? And yes, you can. And I love that. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to thread tape this and make it more of a permanent installation. And then this and this will be what I pop in and out all the time. And it should work just great. So yeah, this is kind of a cool concept. I haven't seen anything like this before. So very slick. Without further ado, I believe that is our plan. So you've seen this before, but up here was my diagram for what we're going to be doing and all the different parts I needed. So now that everything's here, let's get putting it together. I got my thread tape, I've got my wrench, I've got my beer, some scissors. I think we're ready to roll. Had to have a little refill. So everything is thread taped. I had to go get more thread tape, I tell you. Third roll, and I'm only this far in. Can you believe it? I can. You go through a lot of the stuff. So make sure you've got several rolls of your good old thread tape. So everything is thread taped. We are ready essentially now to start putting it together. So I went ahead and tightened in the that push to connect fitting for the dip tube, just to make sure that I had enough clearance, and it looks like it'll work just fine. Of course, we'll do a little test on it. And yeah, now back to this. So here we go. Let's see. Make sure you know which way your valve goes out, so that way you don't install it backwards, because that, of course, does you no good. So that one there, put on our disconnect, quick disconnect. I want to give it a little wrench. This one can be nice and tight. But again, with these fittings, you don't have to tighten so far down that you're, causing, just super friction. Because if you do, that's called galling, and you're gonna essentially like cold fuse these things together, and that's just a big hot mess. So tighten it, give it a good tighten. The thread tape does your sealing for you. Alright, so we got that in. Now we're just going to get that installed. And we're just going to keep trucking away. So you've already seen this. This is not rocket science. Hey, I just found out a cool tip. Set your kettle upside down to get this installed. I wish I would have thought of that on the other one. That would have been lovely to know. So, yeah, there you go. You learn new things every time. Every time. I tell you. This is why we love the internet, right? And now why I like doing this stuff with all my YouTube family. I always learn something new. Every single video I do, I learn something new. That is invaluable to me. So, but yeah, so there we go. Check that out, I bet I can get one more out of that. Dare I try? Holy free holies! This is the hand tightened whole body. Get lined up. That looks good. So yeah, flip your kettle upside down. This is handy. I'm going to do the same thing with the thermometer right here. Now we'll make sure though when it's done it should be upside down, right? To me now. Yeah, I never ever thought to do this when I was doing the blow cover. Alright, this one's going to need a little English. Just a little. This is going to be perfect. Nice tight connection. I just can't get my hand in there, and I don't want to pull on the face of the thermometer here, but we do have this hex here we can grab with the wrench. And so I just got another like quarter turn to go. Cool! And that's what we got. Sweet! Oh, that's freaking perfect. build and brew stuff, you gotta have a brewski, right? So, we've got the valve installed. We've got the thermometer installed. Now it's time to work on our Sparge Return here. So, make sure the funky's on there. So, the auto sparge here, it unscrews. So this is the only part we really need. And like I said, I went ahead and left that nut on there so I didn't lose it, just in case I want to transfer this to another pot later, but I can't imagine I'm ever going to not be using these kettles because they're so sweet. So I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, so it hangs like such, if memory serves me correct. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and tighten this on the inside here. You can't really see it, but I'm just going to give it just enough tighten to get it in place, and then for it to orient with the base, you know, this part facing down. So just a little more. I don't have enough leverage, and again, I don't want to be pulling on the little piece, so I'm going to use the wrench just to give me a little more. Again, I got to go about a quarter turn. And that, my friends, almost perfect. I'm really anal about making sure these things line up, and it probably doesn't actually affect it, honestly, but man, it gets on my nerves. Okay, so now that is installed. It is not going anywhere. My hair's got all messed up. My hair's, how do I look? Oh, look great. So, that's installed now. So we got our filter, pop. So now on the outside here, this is where we were going to add that little extension so we could put in the T. And then on the bottom of the T, we will put our quick disconnect for the liquid to flow. On the outside here, we're going to put the digital probe, but I haven't bought that yet, so I don't quite, I don't have it, and I don't know quite how far it's going to go, but I would imagine that's going to be more than enough. I mean, that's going to be plenty of space. So we're just going to go ahead and get this put in place. So first goes the nipple to get our threads. Whoop. Now you can hear the, and I'm just going to do a hand tighten on that one. Finger tighten. Well, it's going to tighten again. Then we're going to put this on. Whole thing is tightening. I can get one more. It's like after you do this just a couple times, you kind of get a feeling for, is it getting so tight that I'm not going to be able to do this? So we're going to just keep on tightening. It's a little awkward. I'm trying to not hit the camera here. Oh man. Whoops. The other bowl's floating away. Perfect. So a little bit of wrench there. You know, we can get it just a little bit straighter. Again, that little amount's not going to matter, but it just, shit like that drives me crazy. So there we go. So now that is installed, and now what we're going to do, everything's nice and level. The probe, when we get that, is going to go right in the end here. So that way, however long the probe is, basically it's going to be touching liquid that whole time as it's being pumped back through. So now, last step, we take our quick disconnect here. Get this one lined up. That doesn't feel quite right. Make sure there's no gunk in there. There it goes. Yeah, I was sticking on something. Whoop, as I tear up a little bit of the tape. That's no good. Okay, I'm going to grab the wrench for this one. The angle is weird, and I hurt my shoulder. I can't press up very well. kind of frustrating. But we're just going to tighten this down here. Oh no, shoot, I'm using this the wrong way, aren't I? I was corrected in that when you pull, you should always pull like and put the pressure on this side of the wrench rather than on here, because these can break. I didn't know that. I can thank one of our customers who actually attended one of my homebrewing classes that I taught at Kirkwood College. He works at Whirlpool, and this is what he does all day. And he was like, let me give you a little safety tip. You know, use this. That's strong. This wiggles around, it's weak. I was like, thank you. Again, learn something new every time. Okay, I think that's tight enough. It was pulling, I could see the whole thing move a little bit. I'm like, that's probably more than tight. So, alright, rock and roll. So now we're just waiting on this little piece right here, which I will probably, I'm going to be talking with my friend Eric, who's helping me build the controller, to see basically, you know, what probe is going to work with what, controller he's going to be essentially installing in the controller box. I think it'll be just a standard on like an XLR connection, or maybe, I don't know, maybe some type of other. We just have to see. We'll have to see what we get. Got to install that one there, and then got to install the one in the boil kettle there, and that should be pretty close to getting her done there. So yeah, these suckers are rock steady, and this little, you can hear it moving around in there, but it's not going anywhere. It's the hanging part. Let me grab you here. So you kept hearing that rattling? It's that guy right there, see? Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. So it tightens down. Once the float arm is installed, that'll be just fine. So there we go. Going through. Probe is going to go right there. We've got the thermometer installed, lined up nicely with the ball valve. Alrighty, so there we go. Everything tightened down that needs to be tightened down. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and install the false bottom. Here's our little dip tube. It's not little actually, these things are huge. The flow is going to be very good. The false bottom. This is something I thought was cool on theirs too. They've got the little handle, you know, on the little pull tab. That's going to make this a lot easier, I think, getting this thing in and out. And then of course the bottom. So it sits like so. Dip tube like so. So yeah, let's test my theory. So there we go. Installation was a success. Like I said, it's a tight fit, and you gotta kind of wiggle it a little bit, but it works. I'm gonna lower now the ball, but you can see, yeah, it's not going anywhere. So that's gonna work great. That's the thermometer probe. This will be the float ball for the auto sparge. Going up, flows in. Down through. It's filtered by the false bottom. Out through there. Out through there. Quick connect fits on here. And then it goes down to the boil kettle. So yeah. Sweet. This is looking good. There's it from extreme hover view. So there we go. Another successful expansion. Lovely. The machine is so close. It's so close. I'm so excited. So there we go. Thank you again to Ben from Spike Brewing for supplying the kettles for us here. If you are needing any kettles, check out spikebrewing.com. If you are needing any of the fittings you've seen in any of these videos, guess what? BIY's Homebrew Supplies sells them all. DIYHomebrewSupply.com. It's my shop. We appreciate any support you could send our way. You know, homebrew's not a huge dollar industry for us little homebrew shops, so any support we really appreciate. It's all three of us, and you've seen us all here on YouTube. So there we go. So yeah, this is going to be the mash tun. Now I guess I'm going to be moving on to figuring out what I'm going to actually put this on. I've got a table in mind that I think will work well. I've yet to get the pump and a couple other fittings that way. The disconnects here, I do have the, so these are the male. The female I've got is like, it looks almost like a giant ball lock keg assembly. Or a pneumatic air hose, if you've ever worked with, you know, air tanks that click. Kind of like that, but stainless steel and designed for heat. So yeah, so we've got those coming. This installed. You can get all this DIYHomebrewSupply.com. Can't get Spike Brewing stuff though. They only sell by themselves, which is awesome. You know, that works, man. Nice quality stuff. I'm pleased so far. Got to do leak tests, of course, now on everything. That's going to come once we have the system in place, and I can basically just fill it up with a huge amount of water and just let her rip and see what happens. So that'll be, I'm sure, a fun video. If anything leaks, you will see me blowing steam out my ears and freaking out. But I can't imagine anything's going to leak. You saw how I tighten these down. You basically tighten them down by hand and then just keep cranking on them until you have your actual full-on connection. So thread tape should do the seal for us. We shouldn't have to worry about taking this apart and cleaning it and all that stuff because this is not on anything that's going to need to be, I don't know, how do you say it, completely germ-free like a fermenter would be. This is going to be boiled. This is going to be hot. So should be nice and easy to clean with some PBW. Hit it with a nice sanitizer just to make sure anything funky in there is dead, and it should work out great. So yeah, well, cheers. Thanks as always for watching YouTube. You know I appreciate it. If you haven't liked the video, please do. We love that. Share with your friends. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to it. If you haven't seen the previous videos, check them out. I already did my, but if I've got, you know, if there's more link here, do it. You can see the whole process through. So yeah, so next steps, I'm going to have to build something. I don't know if I will necessarily, or build something. I don't know if I'm going to need to build something. But I will probably definitely be stacking some things, and we'll see what that entails. So yeah, I don't know if I'll do a video on that one. We've got to figure out the controller yet, and my friend Eric's going to be helping me with that, so I'm not worried about that. I think we just got to get the probes and then get it wired up. Outside of that, I think we're pretty much 50% done, I'd say. Boil kettle is built for the most part. Mash tun is built for the most part. We got to do the stand / table / stack of stuff that this is going to rest upon. Got to do the controller. That's pretty much it. So yeah, we're 50% there. This is exciting. And then after that, we do our leak test. We do a proof of concept where we power everything on. Get stuff heated up, which will work out great because I need to run super hot PBW through this whole system anyway to clean it really well. We'll scrub everything out, and then it's going to be brew time. I'm so excited about that. I'm so excited. It's going to be cool. So, yep. If you've got any questions or anything, please do leave them down in the comments section. If you have done a setup like this or you're using Spike's equipment, please do leave comments. Send them your love. If you end up buying something through Spike, let them know terpsichoreankid sent you. Ben was nice enough to reach out to me to try, brewing on their kettles. It started this whole madness of upgrading, and so I really appreciate him. I really appreciate Spike Brewing. The kettles are awesome so far. Heavy duty. The welds are great. Love them. So send them some love, and if you need anything else, DIYHomebrewSupply.com. You know where to find me. You know where to find us. And yeah, so without further ado, thanks for watching YouTube. 17.